I thought I heard the old man say, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her." Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed and rotten grub, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by our oath for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
I'm vibing.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Warlindor, and I present to you the Old Gods of Asgard featuring the best-selling writer Alan Wake. This is Herald of Darkness.
From what I gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up theory. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say.
Come on in and listen, lost words you've been missing. All the fire
And they sure did. They sure did show us the champion of light. They sure did. Now we know. Now we know. How are you guys? How are you guys? Sorry, I realized I left the TikTok setup thing out. Sorry, my bad. How are you guys? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling good on this beautiful day? It's actually a snowy day here in Colorado, but I'm not complaining. It's a vibe, frankly. It's a vibe, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. You know what I'm also okay with? Dude, I saw this video come across my recommended feed, and it's like so cool. It kind of pisses me off. Like, you know, sometimes you see a video or a picture of somebody's house or somebody's car or something. You're just like, what am I even doing? This is literally Walton Goggins' 1920s New York Lodge from Architectural Digest. If you thought he couldn't get any cooler.
Hello, AD. What are you doing here? Just kidding. Welcome to our home.
Already I'm sold. Bro, what is this? Dude, the wood beams over top, it's like so open and yet moody. He's got a freaking piano over here. Dude, he's just so cool. He's just so cool. You know, just when I think he can't get any cooler, he gets cooler. Look at this. This is crazy.
Check this out. You know what this is? This is a Prohibition bar. Now, we have the original blueprints of the house, right? So we know that this room was called a linen closet, but it ain't a linen closet. This is where I get to do my thing. This is where they kept all of their liquor for all of their friends that kind of came over. They entertained kind of the likes of Edna St. Vincent Millay, Babe Ruth, Walt Disney, Joan Crawford, even the House of Windsor. What's so special about this and the history of this place is that all of the people that drank here actually signed the wall. This is the signatures of some of the people that signed the wall. This is Edna St. Vincent Millay here at the top, and Hal Erskine and a number of other people. Joan Crawford's name was right over there in the corner, but they covered it up with stain when we were redoing this room. Joan, I'm so sorry. In keeping with tradition.
Like, how cool is that? How cool is that? You know, it's just freaking cool. It's freaking cool. So if you want to see his full breakdown of his New York Lodge, I recommend you go check out that video because it's freaking baller, dude. It's really, really cool. So yeah, he just keeps getting cooler and cooler, and that's all I have to say about that. I don't know where to go from there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, when I worked in real estate, we had one of my bosses, he always said, he's like, you know what? People always like the idea of owning an old house or building. They love it. They're really good, what he called trophy properties. It's something that, you know, you get because it's a cool piece of history to own. But he said, only do that when you have FU money, when you have money to like deal with the crap going on. Because he's like, we owned an old apartment building in downtown Denver, and it had, you know, it was built in like the 20s, I think, like early 20s. And he's like, yeah, so at one point the door broke. So we were like, oh, just replace the door. You can't, because it's a custom sized door. It's not like a standard dimension door, because back in the early 20s, they just made it for how big the hole in the wall was. And so to replace that door, now you got to go to a carpenter and have a custom door commissioned for this specific thing. It's like, you never would have thought of that. But that's something you have to do. You have to go in here and you got to swap out. Oh, the sink isn't working. Well, you got to do all custom now. It's expensive, but it's
donated
cool.
1,000 rupees through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Did you see the marathon pre-order trailer?
Yes.
It looks so cool. They've improved the vibe so much.
We're gonna
and
look.
The game is already top 5 on Steam top sellers.
We're gonna look at that because I do think it's still too early to tell because of course we have to play the game, but they are doing almost everything exactly right. It's fascinating to see like the difference in approach, but like there's I think 3 possible outcomes for Marathon. Number 1 is that it just catastrophically flops. based on what I'm seeing, I don't think so. Like, people meme with Concord 2.0 or Concord 3 because I guess High Guard will come out first. But people are joking it's another Concord. Bro, if you think this is another Concord, I just need to stress, as somebody who is a resident Concord expert, Concord was like on a level you cannot fathom, okay? Concord's implosion was so significant because it was so widespread and catastrophic. It was like, it's hard to describe how badly it actually did. Even now, Marathon is outperforming it by a sizable margin, it seems. Like, being on the Steam top sellers list for the pre-orders, that is insane, considering that Concord never got close, even on launch day, you know, it wasn't even close. So I just think, like, it's sensational and all that, but to act as though this is like on the same level of Concord, no. But that's the first possible outcome, is that it's just a catastrophic flop. The second possibility is that it ends up doing decently, having a solid player base, but it's not enough to justify a $4 billion company, right? Like, Bungie was bought for $3.7 billion. They've had even more money poured into it since then by Sony. And with that, like, the game has to be stupid successful to be worth like $3.5 billion. And I personally don't see a world in which this thing sits at like 500,000 concurrent players for months. Like, I just don't see that happening. I think it'll do solidly. Like, I think it'll have a really dedicated fan base that will enjoy it based on what I've seen. But I don't think it turns into like Destiny 2. Like, I just don't see it being on that level. And then the third possibility is that it does become that massive success. I think they're much closer to number 2. I think it'll do well and be solid. But I don't think it like magically makes the purchase of Bungie make a lot of sense. It's too late to undo the purchase now. You know, they've downsized the company a lot since they bought it. So they've done a lot of trimming, and I think it'll be decently successful, at least enough to justify its existence. But like, I still think Sony is probably peeved that they bought that for $4 billion, you know? Zoob, thank you for the 5. We wonder how Herman Holst wasn't fired after wasting billions, but Mark Zuckerberg wasted billions and still has a job. I think the difference is Zuck is in charge. And then Herman Holst, I think there's just something where executives at Sony think that he has some magic skill that they find very valuable. Like, I don't know if it's that he has good relationships with all these different studios, so they want him in charge of the studios because he can like talk to them and communicate, and he gets it because he worked at Guerrilla. Maybe that's it. But there's something they see in him that we don't see. Because I agree. In my experience, like, say I'm working at Best Buy. Hypothetical. I work at Best Buy. And I do something for the company that loses them. Let's not even use exact numbers. Let's just make it smaller. Let's say I lose $1 billion. Just waste it on pizza parties. I would think I would lose my job. Fair? I would guess that I would lose my job. But Herman, no. So I don't understand, you know, because with moderate, like conservative estimates, Herman and Jim Ryan wasted somewhere between like $4 and $5 billion between the Bungie acquisition, which still to this day has not turned a profit, it seems, at all. And also Concord was a catastrophic disaster, and that doesn't even factor in things like Fair Game $, or the wasted years of development on The Last of Us part, or Last of Us Online rather, that was developed and then just scrapped. You know, it's just insane how much money and time they wasted. And and you know, God forbid you even start counting things like the God of War multiplayer project that Sony or that Bluepoint was working on. There's so many things that were in the works that were wasted for years because of their
At
mismanagement.
Witcher1179 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, have to heard of a game called Chronicles Medieval?
Yes. Yes, I have. Chronicles Medieval. Do. Yes, this one, Chronicles Medieval. This is the one that had that really cool trailer where like he rises over the hill on the horse. I don't know exactly what it's going to end up playing like, but I do think it looks very interesting. You don't have to tell me twice if it's a medieval sim with like grounded gameplay mechanics. I'm in. I'm very interested. So we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll reach out to them for New Game Plus or something. See if they have something to show off to people. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. But yes, I have seen it. I have heard of it, and I am watching it. So you better believe it. Better believe it. Thank you for the 10. Also, thank you for gifting a membership and everything to the community. That's very generous, Witcher. Thank you. Thank you. Also, Isaac, thank you for the membership. And over on Twitch, Eantern Smite? Maybe? No, Lantern. Oh, I'm stupid. It's an L. I thought it was a capital I. Lantern Smite, thank you for the resub over on Twitch. And Josh, thank you for the 500 bits. I think people really underestimate the pull that Bungie still has. Top 5 seller on Steam, only a few hours after the pre-orders drop, suggests the game will do very well. Well, it's what I've told people since the start, okay? Like, I played Marathon in April at the studio. I played it during the play tests shortly after that were open. And I thought it was like solid. At the time, I didn't think there was enough content to justify a premium price tag or more than like 15, 20 hours of gameplay. They've since done a lot. And they, like, my whole point after that event was this needs to be delayed. It will not be ready by September. It won't be. Like, they don't have a ranked mode. They don't have any of this stuff ready. And no prox chat. Like, there's a lot of big missing things that they have not added. They need to delay it. And they did. And it seems like they made the most of that delay, which we'll talk about in a minute when we look at these trailers and stuff. Because it really does seem like they've done a lot of work on it in a pretty impressive way. So we'll look at that. We'll check it out. But I think they've done everything they should have done. And what I said at the time was, even though, yes, right now the discourse is very negative, and for good reason. I mean, the art stuff was certainly worth complaining about, but there were like 450,000 people in their Discord trying to get access to the playtest that didn't get in. Like hundreds of thousands of people that were trying to get in. So just because like in your Twitter bubble or something, it might be all negative, lol, Marathon, dead on arrival, whatever. The moment you leave your bubble, you'll start to see that there's a much bigger player base out there that you may not be aware of. You know, it's the same thing when people's brains broke when they realized that, like, hey, Assassin's Creed stuff sells well. Like, among the casual audience, those games pop off, dude. Like, once you get out of your bubble and you realize, oh, like 1,000 people on Twitter all unifying in the comment sections of common threads, it sounds deafening. You know, it's like a deafening cacophony of negativity. But then you realize, okay, that's 1,000 people on Twitter versus the million that actively play this type of game or that type of game. You know, you start to realize that it's a lot bigger than you may realize. Thank you, Witcher, for becoming a member. Thank you. So, I just encourage people to remember that our bubbles are not reality and are not the world. Okay. Sometimes there's overlap. Sometimes your bubble directly correlates to what the rest of the industry thinks about something, but our bubbles tend to be just that, bubbles. And it's important to keep that in mind when we are analyzing stuff and looking at stuff, that often it's bigger than just our bubble. Right. So, you know, the memes might be funny to joke about this or that, you know, but it's why I've said, to me, Elder Scrolls 6, I don't know why people would be hyping that up right now in the wakes of the last decade from BGS, right? But the average gamer, they're going to see a TV commercial saying from the team that brought you Skyrim, the next Elder Scrolls. You know, the type of player who they're not going to call it Elder Scrolls 6, they're going to call it Skyrim 2. You know, those types of players that they know Skyrim, they don't know anything else about it. But those guys are going to be hyped as shit, dude. The moment that you get more gameplay reveals and the marketing kicks off, dude, it's going to be crazy. Okay. So just because our bubble is thinking one thing, everything else, you know, the casual audience, I think is going to be very different. So just remember, the industry is a lot bigger than you may realize or think in your day to day. Thank you for gifting those memberships, Scuba John. Thank you. Very generous. Thank you, guys. Welcome, everybody. If you just got a membership, how you join our Discord is you go to your Discord app, you go to settings, a little gear icon. There's a tab called Connections. You just connect your YouTube or Twitch, depending on whether you have a sub or a membership. You connect your account to your Discord account, give it a minute. Sometimes it takes like an hour or two. And then Discord will automatically, in that tab, have our Discord server that you can join. So just check back there. Okay. Get your booty in there. It's a good time. You can submit videos. You can participate in our group events. When I do giveaways and stuff, we do giveaways there. It's a good time. Okay. Get your booty over there. It's going to be a good time. Okay. A side quest in Borderlands 4 broke for me and won't finish, and it ruined my day. So I'm going for 100%. Dude, that sucks. I still am bitter about a time I was playing Skyrim like 1,000 years ago, and I was doing the Dark Brotherhood questline. And did any of you guys ever get the bug where you were doing the Dark Brotherhood questline, and then there's at one point like the altar, and then there's a doorway you're supposed to walk through, but there's a boulder that spawns in the doorway and you can't walk through it? Did any of you guys ever get that? I'm genuinely curious if I was the only one that got that bug. I think it was on the 360. It was a long time ago. I think it was on the 360, but I got that and I never was able to do the Dark Brotherhood questline, and I got so ticked about it because I thought maybe it was part of the quest design, and like I thought like, oh, maybe this is part of it. So I ran all over the place looking for an alternative door, and I there wasn't one because there was a boulder that spawned in there. Apparently after like some big update, it fixed it, but yeah. It was a traumatic event for me, frankly. Yeah, there's no console commands on 360 as far as I'm aware. At least I wasn't capable of doing it. Treverto, thank you for the 5. Off topic, but Craig Mazin is the writer of the upcoming movie, The Sheep Detectives. And yes, Bella Ramsey is in it as a sheep. Huh. Is she a dad sheep? I don't know. That could be funny. Dad sheep. I'm going to be a dad. Thank you, everybody, for being so generous as we kick this off. This is very, very generous. Okay, but what I want to know is how will it rank in... Hold on. Carmelo, let me try this again. Okay, but I want to know how will ranked work in an extraction game? Did Bungie think that through? Can you explain to us that part? This is the funny bit, okay? When I asked them in April, I asked them, also I have something that's been tucked up in the corner of the studio. I asked them in April how ranked was going to work because they said it's going to be amazing. And they told me that they didn't know yet. I asked them, how's ranked going to work? And they said, well, how would you want it to work? Because it wasn't built yet. So I don't know what their final plans are for ranked because they've built it in the last 6 to 9 months. As a result, I can't really tell you exactly how it works. My understanding is that it's tied to your gear value, and that certain maps and certain tiers of maps. So like if you play this map, but on the ranked mode, the gear you'll get is way more valuable, but you have to have a minimum buy-in that's significantly higher. I think that's what they're going for. And then that there's like gear exclusive to the ranked mode that you can't get in unranked, and that I don't think the gear will cross over. So I think ranked mode gear is locked to ranked mode. So it's not like you can grind that out and bring that loot over to the unranked mode, which kind of makes sense. So yeah, it's I don't know where they settled because they've built that since the delay. But it could be cool. Okay. Should we talk about Marathon? Should we talk about Marathon? What's that? I'm going to show you. You probably know. Let's see. I just wanted to thank Jacob for helping me out with my Discord link. Thank you, Scuba John. Thank you. Glad that you were able to get that sorted. And thank you, Jacob, for helping with that. We did that job posting. And dude, there were so many applications. It was like kind of ridiculous. Hold on. I have to double check my schedule. Okay, yeah, I got time. Because we're doing further interviews, but dude, we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications, so my inbox is flooded right now. It's flooded right now. It's a lot. Does Scuba John know Dave the Diver? It does kind of make me think of Dave the Diver, I'm going to be honest. Hi, Luke. Did you see the new interview with Joseph Fares on the Game Business Show? It's one of the best interviews I've ever seen. He's game director of Hazelight Studios. Sorry for my bad English. It's also on YouTube. You're totally fine, Mr. Spitfire. And yes, I did see, I haven't watched the whole thing, but I have seen snippets of it because he did have some interesting things to say in it. So we might tackle that and go through bits of it at some point. Could be interesting. It could be interesting. I do indeed scuba dive. That makes sense. I will say I love scuba diving. I was just talking the other day about how I want to get my scuba certification. I want to do it officially. I want to do it because did I ever tell you guys the time we went to Hawaii, like 2018? Do I look like I scuba dive? No, I'm way too white. I don't look like I go outside at all. But I went scuba diving on a catamaran as one of our like excursions. And when you aren't certified for scuba diving, you are not allowed to go very deep at all. It's like 5 to 10 feet max, right? That's not what they did for us. Okay. Visual demonstration. This is the ocean, right? This is the ocean. This is the boat on the top of the ocean, right? We'll just say like, oh, it's beautiful, beautiful waves. When you're not certified, you're limited to like 5 to 10 feet. You can go down this far, swim around. You just get like a little experience, right? It's nothing that fancy. You're just like getting a taste of it. They mixed up our group. So they had 2 groups on the boat. They had the newbies that had never scuba dived before, scuba dove, whatever. And then they had a group that were certified. My wife, Nikki, is scuba certified. Her stepdad is scuba certified. So like they were certified to go down and go crazy. So they were allowed to go down, I think it was 40 to 50 feet. Okay. We'll just say 40 feet. Our instructor, after we suit up, like we have masks on, we have tanks on, you can't talk to each other. You're just going like hand signals. They mixed up our group. He thought we were the certified guys. So you know what he did for us who had never scuba dived before? He took us 40 feet down for our first ever scuba diving trip. And it was a lot. I'm very glad that he did. It was genuinely super cool. It made me fall in love with scuba diving. But it was, people in my group were not thrilled by it. And one of the people that was with our group had a panic attack while under the ocean, tried to like swim back up and escape, which you can't do. If you go from 40 feet and go straight up, you're getting the bends and your blood and the nitrogen in it's going to be bad. Don't do that. So the instructor's like, you can't go up. And so he like grabs her backpack thing as she's trying to like swim back up to the surface because she's having a panic attack 40 feet under the water. And eventually he just grabs her and starts swimming. And so we're like swimming along here. And again, we can't talk. I'm like, I'm cool. So we just keep swimming and he just drags her. And I kid you not, dude, she like at one point, it's funny now. Like she at one point, I think, fainted or passed out from the panic attack while she was like under there being dragged by the instructor. And so at one point I'm just, swimming, looking at the sea turtles and the dolphins in the distance, magical experience. And I turn my head and I just see her on the ground, like all fours, just dragging. Like he's got her by the backpack, And he's just swimming, dragging her along the bottom of the ocean while her hands are just like dragging on the bottom. It looked like she was dead, but she was fine. The bubbles were still coming up. Her brain just went into factory reset mode and it was like, do, 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 do. And eventually, you know, he dragged her up. She came to, and we started balancing out, and it was fine. You know, you go back up 30 feet, wait, 20 feet, wait, 10 feet, wait, and then we surfaced. And afterwards, when we did the debrief, we realized we were not supposed to go that deep at all. And frankly, they could have gotten in serious trouble for that. I don't know if they did. I'm guessing they did. But it was one of those things where I was like, I was kind of glad that we got to go down because it was cool. And the instructor knew what he was doing. It just sounds like there was a miscommunication where they like told him that group is going down 40. And he thought they pointed to the other one. It was a miscommunication for sure, but it was genuinely really cool. It made me fall in love with scuba diving. So there you go. Lesson is, if you're going to go scuba diving, don't have a panic attack. Just don't. Stop it. Stop freaking out. You're going to die if you freak out. Stop panicking. Maybe I should record, like, you know how they have those like affirmations that you record and then like you listen to them through Spotify or something. Maybe I should record some for people having panic attacks while scuba diving. Stop it. If you keep freaking out, you're going to drown. Stop it. Yeah, you're overreacting. You're being selfish. You're ruining the fun. Everyone's going to be laughing at you because you ruined the vacation because you died under the water. Yeah, that would be funny. We could do that. Luke's totally helpful affirmations. Anyway, that's my story of going scuba diving. It was really, really cool. But I want to go scuba diving again and get certified and everything because I think it's really cool. Anyway, it's going to be, your affirmations are going to be top sellers. I hope so. Yeah, geez, relax. You're bumming everyone out. Everyone's judging you right now. Dude, yeah, now we need to do this. Okay. Let's tackle two things first, and then we move on from there. Let's tackle this because we kind of need to address it. Okay. News I meant. First, Limits Breaker. Thank you for the 20. Very, very generous. My goodness. Hope you and the fam are awesome. I was sorry to hear about the cardboard Todd's condition. I can't read. I can't read. Jesus Christ, dude. I need better glasses. If he doesn't pull through, this may be a donation towards the Praise Be Foundation. Thanks for all the great content. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to chat as well. And yes, Todd, he did break a little bit when I was forcing him onto his knees next to me in the last stream segment. Should have cooperated, frankly. I'm not saying it's his fault, but if he had done what he was supposed to do, he wouldn't have gotten hurt. You know? Just saying. If he was a good cardboard cutout and had just like bent, would have been fine. But there you go. Ayo. No, it's a crappy cardboard cutout, so it's going to gonna get bent up and damaged over time. I could probably reinforce him if I did. What I could do is like, I think if I got either some better cardboard or like plastic or something, like hard shell plastic, and I cut it in the shape of his brace piece, he'd be fine. So I think I can fix him up. It just is gonna take a little bit of work. Yeah. Luke's never getting that Todd interview now. Well, let's be honest. It was never going to happen. I wouldn't want it to happen. If I knew a guy was out there with a cardboard cut out of me, I wouldn't let him in the same building as me, dude. I get it. It's all for the memes, but I would not blame him if he was like, hell yeah. Let's not get him close. Hold on. Jacob just texted me. He wants a cute selfie for his private collection. Nice. Let's see. Use this email. I think that's what I have it signed up with. Then we're going to talk about an explosion. That works. Okay, Jake, I just replied to you. My phone is all gnarly. Okay. So new segment. Oh wait, there was another one. I'm so sorry. Q Dog, thank you for the 20. Jesus, guys, you guys are too generous. Calm down. What do you think the odds are that Insomniac keeps the rights of Marvel games for a while and ends up building a larger cinematic universe with the ending in a giant Ragnarok-style cinematic battle ending? They will have the rights for what they're doing for a while. I don't want to spoil because it sounds like you may not know. Their entire lineup for the next like decade leaked in the Insomniac hack. So we know what their next like 5 games are. If you don't know what those are, I encourage you not to look and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. But we do know what their lineup is. So I would just say be cautious. Don't look it up if you want to be surprised. But we do know pretty much the whole lineup, and they're not pivoting and doing something like new IP kind of thing. They're not doing that anytime soon. Okay, Fergus, bless upon you all. Yes, indeed. And then in making The Last of Us Part 2, I want to say thank you. If you know, you know, says Olivine Trees. In making of Last of Us 2, I want to say thank you. If you know, you know. I'm trying to figure out what that means. Oh, that's so coy and mysterious. That's so coy and mysterious. What does that mean? Oh, that's mysterious. Okay, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. We'll have to figure that out. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. New segment. So there was a story that broke this morning, which, of course, like I want to just touch on because it's not even that the story itself is crazy. It's been the reactions to it, okay? Basically, there was a boiler explosion that happened at the studio Rockstar North this morning at like 5:02 a.m. So as you can see, 7 vehicles were mobilized to attend the main Rockstar North building in Edinburgh, Scotland at 5:02 local time, just after midnight Eastern, following an incident that local news outlet Edinburgh Live described as an explosion in a boiler room. Crews remained on site for over 4 hours and have now left the scene, the outlet has reported. They say, we were alerted at 5:02 a.m. on Monday, January 19th to attend an incident on a Holy Road, Edinburgh. Scottish Fire and Rescue Service spokesperson said operations control mobilized 3 fire appliances and specialist resources to the scene, where firefighters worked to secure structural damage at a commercial building. There was no reported casualties or crews left at the scene at 9:21 a.m. Now, this is, of course, the building that you have seen in all the pictures with like the big Rockstar North and all of that. That's where this happened. So first things first, fantastic news. Nobody was injured or hurt. The fact that this happened at 5 a.m. is a very good thing, because boiler explosions, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of them. They are horrifying, okay? Like horrifying. Let me see if I can just find a snippet. Let's see. This one, hot water tank blamed for home explosion. Like, what? This one I think was a mixture of gas and the pressure of the water tank exploding, but still, this particular one leveled 3 homes. Like, these things are not a joke. Like, they are scary. When a pressurized water tank explodes, it's something that can hurt or kill many people. And the fact that this happened when nobody was in the studio is a very good thing, okay? It's a very good thing. So thankfully nobody was hurt, and it sounds like they were able to take care of it and shut it down. But of course, because this is the internet, there's like a good number of what seemed to be like troglodytic, psychopathic Luddite lunatics, put that on a t-shirt, that are just exemplifying the worst of the worst of the games industry. Okay, there's some of these guys. Look at this. Game Roll tweeted this out. Mr. Boss for the Win, which has been making GTA 6 revealed videos for the last decade. Kind of a running joke in like the gaming community, if we're being honest, but he put out a video, this one, and you could see in his thumbnail, for one, the immediate narrative is shifting towards, well, now the game's delayed. Like, the human element is not even considered. And then he also used AI to light the building on fire for his clickbait thumbnail. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's insane. It's absolutely outrageous. There's other ones, like Gamer also tweeted out this one. GTA 6 Countdown framed it as, Rockstar now has another reason to delay GTA 6 after a major explosion was heard at the Edinburgh HQ and the offices reportedly sustained structural damage. It's like, bro, go outside. Like, stop it. Stop it. Like, absolutely insane that anybody would do. It's just outrageous. I guarantee you, if somebody was, like, God forbid, hurt or injured or worse in the explosion, their primary concern would again be the delay. Like, it's just outrageous. They just need the game, Luke. Yeah, it's just outrageous. So yeah, if you're following a GTA 6 Countdown account or Mr. Boss for the Win, like, just bear in mind these are the types of people that they are, that they're going to use AI tools to like make the building look like it's on fire for clickbait after like something disastrous like this happens. It's just outrageous. It's crazy. And it's also, I think, very, very naive. Well, I think they're intentionally doing it. They don't really care if it's true or not. It's literal clickbait, but it's also, if they actually think that this would lead to like a significant delay. It's like, for one, Rockstar is a massive studio that has locations around the world and developers around the world. All of these things are backed up in like massive servers and stuff. So this is not the age of like the 90s where something happens and then like everything is lost from the last handful of years. That's not how this works anymore. So it's also just like naive in terms of what's actually happening with game development nowadays. But this one in particular, seeing that he put it into like an image generation thing and had it light the building on fire for the clickbait. And also, like, why does it say out now? What's the like, I thought you're suggesting it's being delayed. What even does this mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, he's notorious for clickbait. Look at his other videos. Well, I don't want to, because I don't want to give him any attention. He's just one of these guys that's been farming GTA 6 hype for a decade. And it's just stupid. It's very stupid. So there you go. Thankfully, nobody was hurt or injured. Because as I showed you in that video of the other one, like, water, like, boiler explosions are horrifying, and they can be so deadly and dangerous. And so they are like, everybody is so lucky that this happened when nobody was in the office, because these types of explosions and things happen just kind of randomly. Like, it's not like they're more likely to happen. They're probably more likely to happen when people are actively using it and operating the water, and it's heating up and cooling down, heating up and cooling down. So they're very lucky that this happened when nobody was in the building. Yeah, very, very lucky. And hopefully it serves as a reminder for all of us to have regular inspections of your appliances and hot water heaters or something. I don't know what, I'm going to hope that could actually prevent this, but I don't know. It also seems like it's kind of just random, which is even scarier. So especially my water heater is right in there through that door. Yeah. Did any of you guys ever see that Mythbusters episode where they experimented with the water heater explosions? They're scary. They're scary, dude. There's like the one snippet. I can't play the whole snippet, otherwise like copyright and everything, but Mythbusters water heater explosion. Yeah, this. They're behind plexiglass. This isn't even an industrial one. This is one that like is in your house, okay? And they set it up, and when it explodes, like, it launched it hundreds of feet into the air. It's just horrifying. Like it's terrifying. So yeah, they're very, very fortunate nobody got hurt. It could have been very, very bad. But of course, the GTA 6 crew is particularly toxic. And well, I should be clear. There's some members within that GTA 6 like hyping group that are particularly toxic, and they definitely showed their ugly faces in the wake of this. It's outrageous. Okay, I want to show you something cool real quick. This just came across my feed. I thought you might get a kick out of it. Let me just show you this real quick. It's a good a reminder that there are some very talented people out there. Goat Boy, he's a modder, does, as he says, 3D stuff maker, and he put together this little old school animation in the style of Fallout 1 and 2, but for the TV show, and did a very good job. It looks very good. It looks very good. What a vibe. What a vibe. Jacob, thank you for the 5. It's very scary. Some people's first thought is GTA 6 is going to be delayed and not worrying if anyone's heard. These people need to touch grass. Yeah, I agree. It's very telling. And to like, it's one thing to not being concerned for the human element is bad enough, but to then go again and then like take the time to manipulate the image of the front of the building to make it look like the whole building lit on fire, to lie and deceive people into thinking it's way worse. So maybe even tricking people who have like genuine concern for human beings, tricking them into thinking maybe the studio actually is lit on fire in the middle of the day. Like this could be catastrophic. That's what it's attempting to clickbait. And it's just insane. I will say, I've received DMs from channels that partake in this type of clickbait, culture war clickbait stuff. And I had one person reach out to me and they were like, I just don't understand why I can't get companies to respond to me. I like reach out to them for access to review codes or preview events, and they just ghost me and they don't interact with me. And I was like, bro, what? I ghosted them. But I was like, what do you expect, dude? What do you expect? If you're a toxic pile of crap, nobody wants to work with you. Shocker. Okay. Like if you do this kind of thing, yeah, you're not going to get invited to the GTA 6 drop party. You know, you're just not. Nobody wants to interact with somebody like that because you're toxic. That's just is what it is, man. It's just dumb. But, you know, that's that. Anyway. Also mini story just before we get into the marathon stuff, because that's going to take a minute. You might have missed this, but I'll just show you, and then I'll respond to that. Beers, thank you for that. There's a mod for Cyberpunk 2077. It's a VR mod, and it allows you to go through Cyberpunk 2077, but in full VR. This is a little snippet that was put together by Synth Potato, showing what the mod actually looks like when you're using it. You put a VR headset on, you can play through the game, or at least portions of it, and experience it in VR, which is genuinely really cool. And it started catching headlines because it was DMCA'd by CDPR. What? Let me explain why that it's not what it sounds like, okay? The guy that did this is a guy named Luke Ross, okay? No relation. I know, shocking. Shocking. I don't have any connection to him. Luke Ross is a VR enthusiast, freelance developer, does modding and stuff like that for VR projects. He put this mod together. He has a Patreon. The Patreon had this mod locked behind its like closed doors. You couldn't get in unless you paid for access. I think it was $10 a month, which violates many like rules and guidelines that CDPR has. CDPR's rule is that you can mod to your heart's content. You can do all of that stuff. That's fine, but you cannot charge money for it. You can't. That's not allowed. That's a big no-no. And so, you know, in the initial framing, again, shout out to Synth Potato for showing the screenshot he posted to his Patreon. Many of you have noticed 2 of my recent posts disappeared about a week ago. I apologize, I could not comment personally about the fact because there was an ongoing legal exchange. Now that the dust has settled, I'm even more sorry to announce that we are leaving behind an adventure that so many of you deeply loved and enjoyed. CD Projekt Red SA decided that they would follow in Take-Two Interactive Software's steps and issue a DMCA takedown notice against me for the removal of the Cyberpunk 2077 VR mod. At least they were a little more open about it, and I could get a reply both from their legal department and the VP of Business Development, but in the end, it amounted to about the same ironclad corpo logic. Every little action that a company takes is in the name of money, but everything that modders do must be absolutely for free. As usual, they stretch the concept of derivative work until it's paper thin, as though a system that allows visualizing 40+ games in fully immersive 3D VR was somehow built making use of their intellectual property. And as usual, they give absolutely zero Fs about how playing their game in VR made people happy, and they cannot just be grateful about the extra copies of the title they sold because of that, without ever having to pour money into producing an official conversion. No, they're not planning to release their own VR port, in case you were wondering. Turns out it is true that the legal team for CDPR and the VP of Business Development did reach out to him a week ago. They reached out to him and told him, you cannot charge money. If you allow the mod to be free and freely available, and then you open up your Patreon, and maybe there's even a pop-up that says, hey, if you like the mod, support me on Patreon. You can do that, but you cannot lock this behind a paywall, because then you're charging money for it. You're effectively reselling our product because it's the VR mod for our product, right? So they told him, just make it free and ask for Patreon subscriptions, but you can't lock it behind Patreon. He refused. And so they sent a straight takedown notice. And then he framed it as though this is like them. This is what's like kind of funny about it, is that it's framed as they're just being greedy and they don't want you to have this VR mod. He's the one that's refusing to list it for free because for him, it's about the money. Like, see what I mean? See what I mean? You can be frustrated that they don't want him to be able to charge money for it. That's fine. But they have no problem with the VR mod. They have no problem with that. It's specifically charging money for something and locking it behind a paywall. That's where you get into like sticky situations and problems, because it's just, they have legal restrictions and there's things that they can't allow you to do. Otherwise, they open themselves up to all sorts of like legal vulnerability, basically. Let me see if I can find the original post real quick. Just a second. Was it? I want to find the original post from the business guy at CDPR. Let me see. I think, was it here? No, not him. Okay, maybe I can't find it. Crap. Yeah, I don't see it. Basically though, yeah, I could keep digging for it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to find it. Effectively, like, I get why some people might be peeved about it. I get it. It would be nice if it was just totally open, but he was taking something, modding it, locking it behind a paywall. Whenever you start to sell something that is contingent on something that's like not, it gets weird. And part of the reason that gets weird, again, is because there's all sorts of legal crap specifically from the EU. My understanding is the EU has a lot of consumer protections, specifically when companies indirectly are encouraging you to purchase something. So if there's a VR mod that you buy effectively with a $10 a month subscription to his Patreon, a Patreon he's making reportedly like 20 grand a month from. Okay. It's not a starving artist, it seems. But he was like, if they indirectly are allowing this VR mod to be distributed and marketed using their game, Then, according to some arguments that have been put forward within like Belgium, for example, they then have a responsibility for consumer protections that could arise as a result of the VR mod, because they're effectively, by not issuing takedown notices, they are condoning it, right? But they don't have any connection to it, which opens them up to many vulnerabilities. If he does something or screws customers over, they could then go and claim that CDPR was aware of it, didn't stop it. So they thought maybe they were supporting the VR mod by not striking it. You know, it sounds stupid, but many legal problems are stupid and pedantic. That's just how they work, which is why you have to enforce your copyrights, your trademarks, and stuff like that. Personally, to me, I think this is a case, as some of you guys have said, of F around and find out. And I think that that's kind of what this is. He's trying to frame it as though they are being greedy and refusing to let people enjoy the VR mod. They're refusing to let people enjoy the VR mod unless there's money involved. But that's literally what he's doing by locking it behind his Patreon and then taking it down when they tell him he can't sell it. So to me, it seems like he's guilty of the exact same thing that he is doing himself. Very talented dev, it seems. Like, I can't even imagine how complicated it is to get something like that working. But as far as I can tell, this is not the clear-cut corpo bad situation. It seems like they gave him plenty of outs and an opportunity to still distribute the mod he made and to still make money on it by offering indirectly that he could, you know, ask for Patreon donations and memberships. He just couldn't lock it behind that wall. He had to give it away for free and then request the money. He can't sell it, but he didn't want to do that. So he took the mod down and now people can't use it at all. But that's his prerogative. He can do that too. He can do that too. Nobody's saying he can't. It's just, it's really rich seeing that he's framing it the other way when he's kind of guilty of the exact thing that he's saying. Why wouldn't you just put it on Nexus? Because again, he was making $10 a pop off of signups to get the mod. So I think his whole brand basically is that you get the mod by giving me money, and if you don't give me the money, you don't get the mod. And so, you know, that's what it is. Shout out the mod. Well, you can't get it now because you're not allowed to buy it effectively. So you can't really shout it out anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. So anyway, interesting story, but that's what's going on with it. Just so you're aware. With this, let's talk about this one now. Real quick, Beerus, thank you. Have you seen the abysmal Lego Batman specs and their, in my opinion, piss poor reason behind them? Don't release them if they aren't final. I did see them. They are beefy. I saw one. I thought it was kind of stupid. It was a post that was saying like, these are the requirements for the Skywalker saga versus the Batman Lego game. Look how much heavier the Batman Lego game is. I thought that was kind of stupid because I was like, yeah, they're very, very different games. So I would expect them to be, the requirements to be heavier. They're still heavier than I would expect them to be for what the game is and what it looks like. But I thought that particular framing was kind of stupid. But we'll see. A lot of games that have posted their tech specs recently, I've seen the specs. I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? It was a lot. So we'll see what they actually end up settling on. They still have like what, 4 months or something to polish and refine. So we'll see. I don't know. Once we get some actual like tech testing, it'll be interesting to see what it's like. Okay. Let's do this. I've been looking at anything in Beta Decay. If so, what do you think about it? Beta Decay. No, I have not. Dystopian RPG. I do think I remember seeing this. No, I've not heard anything about this recently, at least. So I do not know anything cool about it. But maybe we'll reach out to them for New Game Plus. Maybe they have something to share, something new. We'll check it out. We'll check it out. Okay. Also, Nactastic, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. New segment. All right, guys, it's time. It's time finally for us to talk about Marathon. I have my plushie with me. They gave me this when I went to the studio in April. And I also have another little fun thing that they gave me, which is this, which is a piece of artwork signed by the game director and the art director who no longer works on the game. Fun fact, somebody also told me that in some of the decals in the background are some of the decals, allegedly, that they were not allowed to use because they low-key stole them. So this is kind of like a little piece of gaming history, you know, a memory of a big oopsie. A big oopsie. It's very interesting. I appreciate the thought. It was a genuinely cool gift to get before we knew all the art was stolen, or not all of it. Let's not exaggerate. A good amount of the art was, okay, that's even exaggerated. Before some of the decals and textures we found out. Okay. Anyway. Today, we are talking about the pre-order trailer for Marathon. We're here to discuss it. They've revealed the release date. They've revealed the collector's edition. I'm going to be real, as somebody that gets a lot of collector's editions, this actually does look like one of the better ones I've seen in recent memory, with one caveat that we'll get to. And they announced the system requirements, all sorts of stuff. So we're going to look at it because this is like the final big push before the game comes in, spoiler, March. Okay. So we're going to tackle that. To frame this at the outset, I just want to address the elephant in the room. Okay. Number one, a lot of people meme on this game for good reason. Okay. They meme on it. They make the jokes. Concord 2, or some people say Concord 3 because Highguard comes out first, which is honestly kind of funny. But I want to be clear, okay? Since these pre-orders went up, just a few minutes ago, we double checked it. This game is on the top sellers list for all of Steam, having just released for pre-order a few hours ago. It's already starting to top the pre-order charts, which is significant. When we meme about it being a sequel to Concord, or a Concord 2.0, I think it's important to remember that Concord never got even close to the top sellers. Okay. Concord was on a whole other level. Okay. So my guess is that this game ends up launching and having a solid audience when it drops. But I just, personally, I don't see that it's going to blow up and have 500,000 players, but I don't see this being one of those games that has 500 concurrent players. Okay. I think it's going to be a lot more than that. I don't think it's going to be that bad at all, especially because they've revealed some new gameplay and some new looks at the game, and it looks quite solid. One of the important things of being skeptical and critical of games is that you've got to call out games when they deserve it, and you got to critique them and criticize them when they deserve to be criticized and critiqued. But when a game has made massive improvements and strides, you've got to praise it and give them credit for that. Otherwise, you're just being kind of a hateful prick. You know, you're not actually concerned with getting a better game. You're just throwing a fit because it's fun, frankly, to throw fits. I do think what they've got here looks way better than it did in April. Way better. It just does. You don't have to like it. It does not have to be your cup of tea. That's fine. But it looks way better than it did back in April. Way better. Not just in terms of post-processing effects, the quality of the presentation, the grass, dare I say, shout out grass. All of that looks way better. They've also they've done exactly what people wanted them to do. They have responded to direct criticism and critique and changed stuff, which is literally what we ask of these developers. When they screw something up and we ask for them to change it, they actually changed it. That's like exactly what you want, right? You can tell a lot about somebody, in the discourse around these types of games if they're giving credit to Bungie in this case for actually making improvements. Because a lot of the people are still saying the exact same things they said 6 months ago, which no longer apply because they're not actually concerned with the game itself. They're concerned with just having another thing to rage about. In this case, they've responded to the critiques of like proximity chat. Back in April, there was no prox chat. You couldn't talk to other players in the match because they were worried about toxicity. When it was made very clear that they needed to have it, and it was like a must-have for games like this, you know what they did? They went away, they worked on the game for 9 months, and they actually changed it. They actually overhauled it. Now there is proximity chat. They've gone in. All of the original stuff that was going to be post-launch, they've added back into the launch version. So, for example, the Marathon ship map, which they told us in April, when I got my plushie, they told us back in April that that was going to come after launch. Now it's coming at launch. They said that the ranked mode was going to probably come at launch or after launch. That's now going to be their day one, apparently. Things like prox chat that were never supposed to be in the game, they didn't want it in the game, they ended up actually adding it to the game. And it's like fully functional now, even with like distance, audio rendering and stuff like that. So they've made major improvements based on the feedback. And frankly, what they've shown off looks way, way better than everything they showed off back in April. And the narrative has started to shift, certainly among like the Bungie fan base and player base, which you can see on their socials, on their Discord, and also even on their YouTube channels. And you can also see, again, through Steam, pre-order numbers and things like that, that people are actually intrigued. Now, like I said, I think that there's probably 3 possible outcomes for this game, and I think only 2 are really likely. I think 1 is overwhelmingly likely. But number 1 is that this is like a catastrophic flop and they shut down Bungie and everything like that. I personally, based on what I'm seeing, I don't see that happening. I think that they've done enough work and they've done enough of like an overhaul to this that now their core player base is actually pretty hyped up and excited. And I think that they are going to show up day one and play a good amount of it, which again, this is a $40 premium priced game. So that gives them a good chunk of change that's influxed the moment that the game drops. So I don't see this being a Concord flop. Okay. Again, we meme about Concord. It's crucial to understand Concord was a once in a lifetime flop. Like, it was so bad. It's hard to explain to people just how bad it was. Like, it was on another planet of failure, which is why it's so significant and such a major topic. Because they put so much into that for it to do literally nothing. It was like a King of Meat level flop. Really, it was. King of Meat is a closer and like is more analogous than Marathon is, even now, based on pre-order numbers, collector's edition, stuff like that. They actually have a wait list for the pre-orders for the collector's edition because so many people were flooding their website. This is the collector's edition they revealed, which I'm going to be real. Like, I've seen a lot of collector's editions that are pretty low effort. I have a lot of collector's editions behind me, actually. You can see them all over the place. But I've collected a good number of these things. And this is one of the genuinely cooler ones that I've ever seen. The holographic board, which works with the shells that they have available in the game, is genuinely pretty cool. And then the model is also a 1/6 statue. It has built-in lights. And it has different like terrain, including epoxy resin for the water effect. Anybody who says that this is a lame ass statue is lying. Okay. Like, it's genuinely, that's a cool statue. I've collected many statues. I have a lot of them behind me for some of the biggest games that have ever dropped, you know, whether we see like Last of Us, Cyberpunk is behind me. Shout out Order 1886. Not helping my case with that one. I have the Black Flag collector's edition exclusive to Asia because it has the larger ship. The American one had a tiny little mast. This has the full ship. And then like KCD2, we've got Elden Ring, Shadow of the Air Tree, and then we've got Elden Ring with Melania up there. Like I've got a lot of these, okay? I've done, not even to mention my freaking gigantic Weta Workshop, hand-painted Titus over there. I feel like I know a good statue when I see it. And this is genuinely a pretty impressive statue. We'll see when like the actual unboxings drop. Maybe it ends up being that it's just paper mache and it's terrible, but this one is genuinely an impressive statue. I do really like this one. It looks very cool. The little worm dude. Look, it's one of you. Now, the reason I said at the top that there's one caveat to this is because this does not include the game. So you see game code not included in all editions. So if you want the game, you buy that separately. This collector's edition is listed at $170. If you want it with the game, you tack that price on to the top of it, right? The jokes kind of write themselves for not having a collector's edition built in, or a game code built into it. I checked their website. Apparently you can buy it with the game. It's just like a separate package. So you see this, like you can buy it with the game or the no game code version. So I think what they mean is that you get it just separate. It's not like the game code is in this box, which I think is what they mean. So again, we can meme about that, but like to me, I think it's purely a manufacturing thing. My understanding is this box is identical, whether you're ordering it for PlayStation, Steam, or Xbox. The box is identical. Everything inside the box is identical. It's just if you order this version, it comes with a game code outside of the box. They're just not putting it physically inside, so they don't have to have 3 different SKUs. I think that's what they mean. But it's not super clear because the trailer says it's not included in all editions. But then like you can order them. So I think what they mean is that it's just literally a game key card, whatever, outside of the box. It's just not going to be inside, which whatever. But it is genuinely a cool statue, which not all of them are. And if you're one of the people that cares about this as well, they're doing custom controllers. I'm not really a custom controller guy, but if you like custom controllers, they're also doing that. None of this is particularly shocking because, again, it's a major game for Sony. They've got a lot riding on this. So seeing that they're giving it the full AAA treatment isn't that shocking. And as far as controllers go, it seems like a decent design for it. Beyond that, in terms of what actual gameplay looks like, they've done a number of reveals and drops. Some of these captured on PC, some angles have been shifted for trailer use, but you can see again just major overhauls to pretty much every facet of the game. Now, my personal expectation, like I said earlier, and then I got distracted and shocker, ADHD brain. There's the one possibility, which is a catastrophic flop on a Concord level. I don't see that happening at all at this point. I think if it launched in September, that was on the table. Now, I don't think so. The second option is that it does solid and it gets like a solid player base of, I don't know, like 20, 30, 40,000, something like that, pretty consistently. And that, it's a successful live service game, but it's not successful on the level of a $4 billion company, which is what they were effectively valued at by Sony. The third option is that they end up having like a Destiny 2 level success. This thing becomes massive and, genre defining, and it becomes the next big thing, which is of course what they're hoping for. I personally don't see that happening because I just don't think extraction shooters have, maybe I'll end up being proven wrong. I don't see them having the legs that games like Fortnite have had. But I think that that's what they're hoping for, is that this can turn into like the next big defining thing. And I'll believe it when I see it, but I think that they'll find a solid enough audience to be able to justify working on the game and growing it and doing expansions and stuff. And I think they'll do all of that. I just don't see it being like Fortnite 2, but I don't see anything to make me think that this is going to be the catastrophic flop it would have been back in September. The tricky thing is that Sony, again, paid $3.7 billion for them. under the assumption that Destiny would continue making money. It has not. They've actually been hemorrhaging money with it. And under the assumption that Marathon was going to be the next big thing. And then there was a third project that they spun off and now is at a separate team. And that project is outside the company now. So Marathon and Destiny were kind of like the big things to justify the $3.7 billion purchase price. Destiny's been losing money, and Marathon I think will do well, but won't do I don't think it's going to do Fortnite money. I don't think it's doing billions and billions of dollars in revenue. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be solid, but I just don't see it doing Warzone levels, Maybe I end up being wrong, but I just don't see that. So I think it'll do solidly enough. And I think people have fun with it. And frankly, based on what I'm seeing that they have directly responded to a lot of the feedback and tweaked it, that's exactly what we hope to hear and see from these developers. Like, they launch a trailer, they show something off that's not ready, needs more time in the oven, it needs this change, it needs that change, needs prox chat, needs this, needs that, and then they actually go away for 9 months and then do it. That's exactly what you'd hope to see. That's exactly what you'd hope to see. And they deserve credit for that, because it would have been, let's be perfectly honest, it would have been very easy for Sony to just step in and say, we're shutting it down. After the art theft debacle and all that, they could have just shut it down and moved on and just been like, this has been a disaster from day one. Let's just move on. But they didn't. They worked on it, and I think they do deserve credit for it. So I'm excited to see how it goes. It's revealed for March 5th. That's when it's launching, and I think it'll have a good amount of breathing room there. And I think that's coming at a good time, where Arc Raiders will definitely start to be calming down, and there's going to be a good number of people looking for something to try that's just new and fresh, and this very well could be that game for them, which I think was a happy accident. When they were launching in September, imagine this going up against Arc Raiders in the height of Arc Raiders popularity right as it dropped. Can you imagine, bro, the blowout that would have happened? It would have been night and day. But with this now, I think they actually have a chance of doing solidly well. I think the player counts will surprise a lot of people. This would die. I think the September version certainly would have struggled in September, because again, you look back at what we played in the alpha, and night and day with what this is now, but certainly night and day compared to Arc Raiders. So it's going to be fascinating to see how it lands and where this goes. But as I mentioned to you guys before we started the segment, the thing that's crucial to remember with all of this is that your bubble on social media or YouTube or streamers or whatever, your bubble may look at Marathon and be like, no, it's not my game. I'm not interested. It looks like trash. I'm not playing it. That's one thing. Bear in mind, there were close to 500,000 people in their Discord trying to get access to the alpha test, which by most accounts was nowhere near as good as the version that the game is now. It was kind of not great compared to what they have now. So they had 500,000 players trying to get into those play tests, and those players are still interested in Marathon. If anything, they're more interested now. And there's a lot of Destiny players that love Bungie that are not watching the latest whatever culture war videos on how this game is going to be the next Concord. They're just not interested. They're just looking for another free to play or another live service game that they can sink their teeth into. And while this is certainly a premium price title, if they were interested in Arc Raiders for $40, which, let's be real, that's why this game is a premium priced one, because they saw that worked, they might be willing to try this, especially because Arc Raiders will be 6 months old at that point. So it's probably worth jumping in. They'll give it a shot. And who knows, if they get 2, 3, 4 months out of it, they'll probably be happy with that and be like, okay, that was cool. Go back to Arc Raiders for a bit, then come back and play some more Marathon, then come back to Arc Raiders and bounce back and forth. I think that's probably going to be how this works out for a lot of players. So I think that they are in a much better position than they certainly would have been in September. I think that they actually will find a pretty decent player base now. And they deserve credit for actually responding to feedback and working to improve it and overhaul it, because it would have been real easy for them to just abandon it and walk away. It's kind of what I half expected them to do. But we'll see how it plays out. But I think a lot of people will be surprised at how many people jump into this, because the narrative and the reception to all of these reveals and stuff is pretty overwhelming. They also revealed the voice cast for the game, and I again, this is also, give credit where it's due, otherwise you're just being a hateful little troll, okay? Arc Raiders has gotten a lot of flack for using AI generated voices for like vendors and stuff like that. Effectively what they do is they have voice actors they've contracted, they record their voice doing a lot of stuff, and then they use machine learning AI to train the AI version of their voice to then generate the dialogue and text using the licensed voice of the vocal performer, right? Marathon has hired, just these are some of the names, okay? They've got Ben Starr. Forgive me, I don't recognize some of these, but I'll go to the big names that I do recognize. Ben Starr, Roger Clark, Lenny, Samantha Beert, Bo Bridgeland, Rye Chase, Krisia Bios, maybe? Darren DePaul, Jennifer English, just won Performer of the Year. Dave Vinoy, Nika Futterman, Morla Grandona, Raina Guthrie, Donla Hughes, Keston John, Som Kapila, Rich Keeble, Elliot Knight. I feel like I'm reading one of those like generate like D&D NPC names for me, like just like sort by random, you know. It kind of feels that way. Erica Lindbeck, Peter Michael, Brent Mukai, Neil Newbin. Neil. They got Neil. If you don't know him, he's a Starion. Like, they have some like pretty big names on here, dude. Some like pretty big names. It's kind of crazy. And a lot of other very talented people as well. Like, it's kind of amazing how many people they have. Aaron Yvette. I was like, who is this? Aaron Yvette is in Oxenfree, Love of Kill, Snow White in The Wolf Among Us by Telltale. It's like the name's familiar. There's just like a lot of very talented voice actors and actresses. Dispatch. Oh. You're right. Look at this. Blonde Blazer. They got Blonde Blazer, dude. Interested now? No? Okay, well. The point is, like, again, you'll be able to tell a lot about whether somebody's like being disingenuous or not by how they handle a lot of these uppies. I was trying so hard not to go, mama. I'm sorry, but that wouldn't be professional, so I didn't say it. I only talked about it afterwards, which is better for some reason. But you'll be able to tell a lot about whether people are just being like negative Nancy's or if they're actually like engaging in good faith, because you don't have to like Marathon. You can even think Marathon sucks or is lame, whatever, but this is a stacked voice cast, and if somebody's still like, no, bad voice cast, like that's when you'll know that they're being stupid. Because dude, if a single player game had this lineup, I'd be shocked. I'd be like, bro, this is crazy. So even though, again, for Marathon being a live service extraction shooter, I'm still kind of like, imagine if they had like a narrative or something. But still, they deserve credit for a absolutely stacked voice cast. It's absolutely insane. So we'll see how the game settles out and where it goes. I think they deserve credit where it's due. I think the collector's edition statue looks really cool and baller. The box is also genuinely cool. With like the holographic thing, that's genuinely cool. Not including the game in it, like inside the box, is like a classic memeable cringe thing for companies to do in collector's editions. But then they're selling it so you can buy it with the game. My understanding is just not put inside the cardboard box. It's going to be outside the cardboard box, which whatever. As for gameplay improvements, they made a ton of them. They have listened to feedback, which is exactly what we've asked for them to do from the start. So they deserve credit for that. And I do think what they have actually showed off does look significantly better than what we saw back in April. So I think that it actually stands a decent shot now. And again, I think that the player counts will surprise a lot of people. If you're going into this thinking this is going to be a Concord level success, that either means that you have no idea just how bad Concord was, because Concord was, it was special. Okay. It was very special. I genuinely think at this point, a few hours after the pre-orders went up, at this point, Marathon has vastly outsold Concord based on the numbers Concord had. Like, vastly. You don't have to like the game. You don't have to think it looks cool. That's fine. But like, I'm just warning you, I would not put a lot of money into Concord coin for this game. Okay. It's just, if you really genuinely think this is on that level, you gotta back up and look at it from a new angle, because I'm telling you, if you put a lot of money in Concord coin, you're going to lose a lot of money on this one. It doesn't have to be a good game. Doesn't have to be a game you like, but like this, I think is going to do a lot better than people think it will. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, rat. Yeah, rat indeed. Blackthorn, thank you for the 10. Hey, Luke. Sorry, I saw a question mark after. Hey, Luke. Did Red Dead 2 have a fancy physical collector's edition? I haven't ever seen statues for the game. Having a statue of Arthur Morgan would be cool. I was 14 in 2018, so I didn't have the money. My memory, if my memory serves me right, wasn't it a shotgun? I think it was like a box of TNT or something. This. Yeah. So Red Dead 2 Collector's Box limited time re-release. It's like this was it. It had like a puzzle for some reason, and then cigarette cards. This is the re-release though. Was the original one different? No, I think this is just what it was. Some people had like their dream statue and stuff and what they wanted, but they ended up doing like, oh, even this one didn't have the game in it. That's crazy. And as we all know, Red Dead flopped. But yeah, it was kind of a lackluster one. I remember looking at it and being like, like it just, I don't know, man. Like one of the things I find frustrating is when you have a collector's edition and it's filled with like the Temu junk, like spin-off stuff, where it's like there's a puzzle. Cool, but like what am I supposed to, like, am I supposed to put this on my game shelf, like the Red Dead puzzle? Or like a bandana. Like it just looks like a standard red bandana. Like the playing cards, okay, the pins, okay, I guess. The catalog, see, that's fun. The catalog from the game, that's cool. I like that. A map, okay, like it's whatever. The puzzle, like it's just, I would much prefer a statue. I agree. Much prefer a statue. Remember the Hogwarts Legacy wand? Dude, the Hogwarts Legacy wand is a classic. Hogwarts Legacy collector's edition. Here. Dude, I remember this. So I got a lot of flack at the time because I remember reacting to this collector's edition reveal. And I was like, guys, think the game looks cool. Guys, I love how you're being so in tune with the audience, but this sucks. Because like, watch, he unboxes it. Come on, YouTube. It's a plastic book. Okay.
Logo there, and this mysterious figure. It's very detailed. Got a lot of little elements, the torn pages and everything. The book does plug in So we're gonna get some technical assistance now and see what this thing does. There is our floating ancient magic wand.
In principle, this is cool. But especially like when he first sets it up, like look how low it's sitting. It looks like it's just sitting on top of it. Like, again, it's a cool idea. I don't think the magnet was powerful enough. If it were stronger and this floated like 4 inches above, that would have been cool. That would have been really cool. But this, like, I was like, I don't know, fam. I don't know. Like, especially if it was built in and it floated higher, I could see it being in the background and being like a really cool thing. But it sits so low and close to it that it was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And you can see it's like, it's not centered either, and that bugs me. But this is literally the entire thing. So I remember they had the store page for it. And like it listed collector's edition book, steelbook case. I don't think it included the game either. It was just the steelbook. And then they literally labeled the box as one of the cool things you get with the collector's edition. Now, the marathon box, that one, it was legitimately kind of cool because it had like the holographic thing. This is literally a cardboard box. Like it's literally a box. And it was like 200 something. Like I was like, it's just, guys, guys, the game's cool, but like, what are we doing? What are we doing? My cat would love it, dude, for real. This would drive cats crazy. So yeah, that one was weird. I hope if you got it, you enjoyed it. Sorry, this is funny. The team making this game loves the Harry Potter universe. Whoever was in charge of this collector's edition clearly does not. Like this, looking back on it, it's not as bad as I remember, but like even poor Chandler can't hide his true feelings about this utter ripoff. His face at the end screams, really? I don't think I've ever been more disappointed with an unboxing for anything. If the book was real with pages and detailed description of the game's magic and so forth, that would have been worth the price tag. Is this the best idea you guys could come up with, the collector's edition? Yeah, it just, dude, it was just not great. Oh, it was a $300 magnet. $300. It's just, yeah, it was a woof. But who knows? Maybe for the next one they'll go overboard and they'll blow us away. You never know. You never know. We got a few more minutes before I've got to hop for some interviews. Let's do this, okay? Let's do this. Okay, I'll touch on this. We'll see if we have time for the Crimson Desert thing. New segment! It's new! And it's a segment! And you're gonna like it! You guys remember I told you that the former head of like all Assassin's Creed stuff was booped out and left the company. He was a guy named Marc-Alexis Cotier, okay? Marc-Alexis Cotier. I don't think I've ever directly spoken to him. He was there at the studio when I was there for AC Shadows. He was walking around and he's like in the background whenever we were doing like a group thing. So he was watching closely, but he was previously in charge of like all Assassin's Creed stuff. Okay. Like franchise, bigwig, big dude. Like he was a very important person in the hierarchy. His tenure in that position, I mean, he's been at Ubisoft for like 2 decades, but his tenure started, I believe, in 2021, give or take a year. I think it was 2020 or 2021, but he was basically the guy behind the Infinity Hub. He was the guy that had the vision for the next decade, basically, of AC. So his big push seems to have been the Infinity Hub, creating games under one umbrella. I personally don't like the vision. But his other thing, and the one thing I do agree with him on that I think will potentially help, is that his vision was, instead of trying to make an everything game every like 3 years, his goal was to instead have smaller experiences that give like much more effort for particular niches. So instead of having AC Valhalla that tries to satisfy the old school fans and then the live service fans and the RPG fans and the story fans and the stealth fans, instead of trying to have one game that makes everybody happy and then as a result you only make like 70% of them happy, or like, you know, instead of trying to do everything so you only do things to like a C+ level. His goal was to have smaller games that can do things at a B+ or an A- or an A+ level. So you have a game that's just dedicated to stealth, and then you have a game that's just dedicated to the RPG. And then you have a multiplayer game that's just dedicated to keeping live service fans happy. And that's kind of part of his goal. And I think that that will work way better than trying to turn like every game into Red Dead, Fortnite, Witcher 3, Assassin's Creed, Pong. You know, it just doesn't work. But why am I talking about him? Why did I bring him up? Well, there's news. There's news. He was booted out of his role in the wake of the Vantage establishment. Basically, Ubisoft received a bunch of cash from Tencent. Tencent formed with Ubisoft a new company called Vantage Studios. So you have Ubisoft and Vantage Studios. Vantage Studios is owned by Ubisoft. They own about 40 or 75% of it. Tencent owns 25%. It's technically outside of Ubisoft though. Vantage licenses and has the rights to all of Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry that they licensed from Ubisoft. Okay, so they're technically outside, but they have all of the rights to that. And as a result, also all of the studios, specifically like Montreal, Quebec, I don't think Bordeaux is technically inside Vantage Studios, but a lot of those big guys, I think Ubisoft Massive, I don't think is. There's a bunch of those big guys that are tacked in there, right? So when they formed Vantage Studios, they restructured a bunch of stuff, and they basically went to Marc-Alexis Cotier and offered him a new position, and he left. That's all we knew about it. With this, it's been revealed, thanks to reporting from Tom Henderson with Insider Gaming. Again, shout out them. You should have them bookmarked. They have an app on like your phone you can get for the latest gaming news. Highly recommend it. They do fantastic work. But he reported this out. Former Assassin's Creed boss is suing Ubisoft for $1.3 million. The former Assassin's Creed boss, Marc-Alexis Cotier, has filed a claim with Superior Court of Quebec for a total of $1.3 million in compensation and damages against Ubisoft. The file comes months after Ubisoft announced that Marc-Alexis Cotier left the company voluntarily, a claim which Cotier later denied, stating he was asked to step aside from the company. Remember when all this happened, we were not clear. Is this that he was fired, or is it that they offered him a new role but with like a pay cut so he left, or did they tell him you're not going to be able to, like, we're taking the franchise in this direction, and as a matter of principle he sat down? Like, we just don't know. But now he's claiming that he was basically pushed out. In a lengthy LinkedIn post, he said, "Many of you have expressed surprise that I would choose to leave Assassin's Creed after so many years, especially given the passion I still hold for it. The truth is simple. I did not make that choice." He continued later, "But I also owe it to my teams, past and present, to say this plainly. I did not walk away. I stayed at my post until Ubisoft asked me to step aside." A new report from CBC Radio Canada states that he is now taking Ubisoft to court, claiming $1.3 million in severance pay and moral damages. This must be a Canadian thing. Moral damages? Like what? According to the report, Cotier was told during a management meeting in late summer of 2025 that Ubisoft's new subsidiary with Tencent was looking to find a, quote, head of franchise, which was a position he was not offered. Instead, he was offered the position of head of production, which would have seen him reporting to someone else. So he was previously the guy. Now he'd be someone reporting to the guy, right? The lawsuit states that in September, the position to lead a creative house with abstract outlines was offered. After lengthy negotiations, Ubisoft reportedly asked him to make a decision on the changes, to which Cotier formally demanded that the company pay him severance. In response, Ubisoft reportedly told him to not show up for work as planned on October 13th and to continue his reflection period until the company responds to his formal notice. The next day, Ubisoft announced via press release and internal emails that he was leaving his position voluntarily to explore new opportunities. That sounds messy, dude. Now, The term for this lawsuit, or this type of lawsuit, it's basically like when a company tries to manipulate you into quitting so that they don't have to pay you severance. That in many countries is considered illegal because it's a way of them manipulating you into quitting so they don't have to pay you severance or any of the contractual obligations that they have. It's kind of a big no-no. So an example would be if I had a contract with Jacob to be my editor and it said, hey, if I fire you, I have to pay you 3 months or 6 months salary, right? While you look for a new job. But I'm like, ooh, I don't want to pay that. So I go and I tell Jacob, hey, I'm going to now give you a new position where you are going to be working out of a coat closet, and you're going to also have 18-hour days, and you also, like, I assign him something really monotonous. I put a manager above him that's just like super toxic and is super oppressive, basically pushing him to quit. It's basically an indirect way of firing. It's like the toxic thing that people do in high school when they don't want to be the bad guy to break up with someone. So they just stop responding to texts to get them to break up with them so they're not the bad guy. That's basically what they were allegedly doing here, right? Sounds like his current studio. It's a bedroom. It's a bedroom. Yeah, ghosting. So basically, the exact term, it's like firing by, let's see, what is it? What's the term for firing someone illegally by, what is that? Constructive discharge. That's what it's called. It does sound like a sexual thing. It's not, I swear to God. Constructive discharge or dismissal in employment occurs when an employer makes working conditions so intolerable or hostile that a reasonable person would feel forced to quit, making the resignation legally treated as if the employee were fired, often allowing for wrongful termination claims despite the employee resigning. It's not a direct firing, but a forced resignation due to severe changes in terms, harassment, or pressure, effectively making the termination involuntary. That's what he's claiming happened. So Ubisoft is saying, no, you quit. You don't get your severance and stuff. You quit. He's saying you forced me to quit, and any reasonable person would have quit, which makes it effectively firing, that you fired me effectively. That's his claim. This is going to be tough, I think, to prove in a court, because obviously, like, how do you determine what a reasonable person would do? It's basically going to come down to what a judge decides is reasonable based on the letter of the law in Quebec. My guess is this is just one of those things they settle. They probably throw him $500,000. He just goes away. They have him sign an NDA. He can never talk about Assassin's Creed again, and he just moves on with his life. That's typically how this type of thing works, especially in like high profile situations, right? But I think what's particularly interesting is that Ubisoft tried very hard to get him a role where he was not doing what he was before. They were trying very hard to push him out into a different role where, as you can see, they offered him things like creative house. So he would lead a creative house with abstract outlines. So he'd be in charge of a studio or a team doing stuff, probably just broad Assassin's Creed creative stuff. So, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be in charge of a lot of stuff for the franchise. And this was effectively like a major demotion. So he's like, and this is also part of his claim, right? Is that he can go in and say, hey, if I'm being paid, I don't know how much he was making, but if maybe he's like, I'm getting paid $300,000 a year and I'm in charge of this whole team. And you're offering me a new position where I get paid $100,000 and I'm in charge of 3 people. That is such a major demotion that it's effectively like you're firing me, you know? And if you change the terms and you say, hey, if you're working in retail and you're paid $20 an hour, and then your boss comes to you and says, hey, listen, I've got a job for you. You can't keep doing the job you're doing now, but I can offer you a job paying you $7 an hour. They're basically firing you because no reasonable person would agree to those terms, right? That's what he's claiming went down. Like I said, I think that they'll settle, but what I find just so interesting is that they, whatever it is, they really did not want him in that big, important role. Now, as I've told you guys before, I do not have a lot of confidence in the new leadership of Assassin's Creed. The new guy, Charlie Guillemot, is the son of the CEO. And he, man, just again, whenever I need to explain why I'm not confident. The new co-CEO, he is in charge of all Assassin's Creed, all Rainbow Six, and all Far Cry. His last project before he became co-CEO of this multi-billion-dollar venture was Unagi. You'll see his name listed at the very bottom. This is him, Charlie Guillemot. Okay. What is this? It was founded by ex-Ubisoft execs. They conveniently don't mention that one of those is the son of the CEO. But it was founded in 2022. Since then, we've shipped 4 Web3 games, launched an anime brand, and developed a token-based economy. It is basically an AI Web3 NFT buzzword simulator. And I think what they did is they created a platform where you can have an AI character that just like stands, and then you can collect NFT things for them. And they tried to basically make Facebook and Instagram, but for NFTs, which, if that sounds insane, yeah. Like I've seen a lot of crypto bros slop, and this is a lot for me. You know, but this is like the guy that's now in charge of Far Cry, Rainbow, and Assassin's Creed. This was something he spent years doing and that he was really proud of. Okay? So forgive me for being skeptical. If he thought this was good, woof. Woof. Okay? And now he's in charge of all of this stuff. Now, there's 2 ways this could go. Either he's got some like amazing vision and he's like, I know what I'm gonna do. NFTs for everybody. Assassin's Creed, you get an NFT and you get an AI chatbot agent anime, whatever the hell, and then you get that. Maybe that's what he's gonna do. The other possibility, which I personally really, really hope is the case, is that this is just literally one of those things. Like, I knew a rich kid in high school where his dad wanted him to like get off drugs because he was experimenting with like cocaine and stuff. So his dad bought like a car dealership and just let him go and work on like sports cars and upgrade them and mess with them. And like the business lost money, but it was basically just his way of keeping his son off drugs. Honestly, fair play. If that's what you need to do to keep your son off drugs, as a father, I can respect that, I guess. But it was never about the business. It was about just keeping him off drugs. Maybe this is one of those situations where he's been off smoking peyote and stuff, which is why he thought the NFT thing looked good. It would explain it at least. And, you know, Yves Guillemot was like, oh my God, my son, he's going to explode. And so he's like, I know, I'll put him in charge of this multi-billion-dollar company. And he'll just like take the paycheck and do nothing all day. And the other guy, a guy named Christophe Drenet, he will now be in charge and he'll actually do all of the work. And if you don't know Christophe Drenet, he's been on like executive vice president, producer, managing director on a ton of stuff like AC Valhalla, going all the way down to like Far Cry Primal, Watch Dogs 2 he's listed on. I mean, he's been around forever. So he certainly understands the role and has been involved for a long time. I mean, this guy is like accomplished. Okay, going all the way back to Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell for the GameCube. Okay, So maybe he's just going to sit in the corner office getting massages all day and eating Twinkies, and Christoph will do all of the work. That's what I'm personally hoping for. That's what I'm personally hoping for, that he just doesn't do anything. Because I'm going to be real, and this is what I said in my recent video. Like, literally, Mike Candle is probably more qualified to be CEO of Vantage Studios, because at least this didn't make an AI NFT anime crypto brand. I find that disqualifying. Like, if I find out that you did that, you're not getting the job anymore. This didn't. So I feel it's more qualified. You know, don't drink it, please. No, I wouldn't drink a qualified candidate like this. I just, man, I have so little confidence with this that it's hard to put into words. So my point with all of this is that, for one, the lawsuit's happening, and I think that it's probably going to settle out of court, and then Mark will go away, and you probably will never hear from him again, because part of the terms is going to be that he can never talk about AC or Ubisoft or anything ever again. So I think this will settle. He'll get a bag. He'll go away. Ubisoft will be happy. They can move on. But what I find fascinating is that they tried for months to get him out. And it seemed to me like his direction was very friendly to Ubisoft. His goal for Assassin's Creed Shadows and for Hexe and for everything else they're doing was seemingly in line with what Ubisoft wanted to do for the rest of their stuff. Like, it was big picture, live service, make these games like multiplayer games that you can monetize long term. Like, that was his big push. The AC Infinity Hub, where you have one launcher for all of the Assassin's Creed games, that was his vision. That was his baby. And they wanted desperately to get rid of him. So that tells me they want to take it in a new direction. And the direction could be much better, old school Ubisoft. They could get back on their horse and they could start, you know, putting out AC2s again, or AC Black Flags again, which is possible. I mean, again, we've seen companies that go through a crazy rut and then come out and start dropping Game of the Year contenders after they figure their crap out. It's possible. It's not incredibly likely, but it's possible. But the reason I bring up this guy is because he's the one that's now in charge. And literally when he became in charge is when they started pushing him out. And knowing his judgment, it makes me feel like there's a chance he has a vision, which terrifies me. Because his visions for other stuff I have found lacking. Okay. So we'll see where it goes. But what we do know effectively is that they're taking Assassin's Creed in a new direction. And that direction might be way better. It might also end up being, you know, just this. I said this at the end of my video on the main channel. I was like, guys, if you add NFT, crypto bro, Web3 crap to Assassin's Creed, to Far Cry, to Rainbow Six, if you thought the crap you got for Shadows was bad, dude, the weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth will be generational. Like, you cannot even begin to fathom how insane that would be. It would be good for my business. I have so many videos I can make about how stupid that is. But as a fan of Assassin's Creed, somebody that grew up playing these games, I'm like, guys, don't. Don't, because that's something I don't think it could survive. I think that would send the brand into like such a nosedive that it would be very, very difficult to ever recover. Like, very difficult. Metal, thank you for the 10. Out of lurk mode, love your content, but I wouldn't mind a DSP style begging every 15 minutes for support. Now I'm gonna go get Frisky with my wife. She's listening right now. Have a great day. Have a great day too. Sounds like you're about to. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for support. Yeah. And we need to hit my goal, but there is no goal, but we need to hit it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to eat a lunch meat sandwich. Well, yeah, we'll circle back. Maybe we'll do that. I mean, yeah. Support and engagement. Yeah. Thank you, Metal, for the 10. That was very generous. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Support me. It has to be with money, but whatever works, but it has to be money. Yeah. If you don't know DSP, the meme, he's kind of a generational roach that begs for money constantly, but insists he's not begging for money, even though that's what he's definitely doing. Real serious. Thank you for the 8-month membership re-up. Billionaires are just a different breed. I firmly believe you have more in common with some guy on the other side of the world than with a billionaire. I will say that for most people who have that level of wealth, it's just a different universe. I mean, it's literally, you never have to want for anything. And just imagine how much your day-to-day, how much your life changes when you literally, like, needs disappear. Just like try to put your brain in that position where literally it's a turn of phrase, you'll want for nothing. Literally, there is nothing they could possibly want that they can't get. It's insane. It's insane. It does definitely change you. Let's see. Totally Not Wellington, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, I request you sell everything you have and donate it to EA so they can make Battlefront 3. Now, by the way, that Hogwarts set is cool. I know, I do like the Lego set of Hogwarts. I got to build the All-Seeing Eye as well. As for, I keep calling it All-Seeing Eye. I know that's not what it's actually called. Like, the official name is the Barad-dûr, but I just call it All-Seeing Eye. But anyway, I'll contact EA. I'll see if I can contribute to the cause for Battlefront 3. Blackthorn, thank you for the 10. Let's see. Oh yeah, we did talk about that one with the collector's edition. Thank you for that 10. Let's see. Sinis, thank you for the 21 months. 20 months, baby. That gets 2 booms. Boom. Thank you for that. Let's see, RPG or RY guy. I gotta hurry up through these. I got an interview in 5 minutes. Longtime fan, thank you for the 20. That's incredibly generous. How did I not see this before? Thank you, very generous. Longtime fan, played Tsushima before Yote, and I think I'm the only one who talks about it. Masako Adachi and Atsu are the same character. Family betrayed, names to cross, spares one conspirator, not dead relative. I mean, yeah, it's a very kind of boilerplate story. Like, again, no excessive spoilers, but like it's just exactly what you think is going to happen is what happens. It's why I was kind of frustrated by it, frankly. Let's see, CJ, thank you for the 10. So should we be afraid of what's going to happen with AC Hexe now, or do you think it'll be in the clear? I think AC Hexe is locked in. Whatever it's going to be is what it's going to be. I think you'll see the vision of Charlie Guillemot in like 4 years, 3-4 years, probably. It's going to be a bit of a, there's going to be a stag or a tail on it, but probably Hexe is what it's going to be. I don't think there's any changing it at this point. Luke just platinumed AC Mirage, excited for Hexe. Cool. Yeah, it's going to be so different. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I just want to give a shout out to Grass, says Jimothy with 20 months. Thanks for being the #1 grass enthusiast and bringing much needed attention to this issue. #grass matters. I agree, my friend. Much love. Ryan, thank you for the 5 months. Hey, Luke, are you getting the collector's edition for Crimson Desert? I'm kind of hesitating, but the dragon, they often will just send me one. So I have not, I don't have it pre-ordered or anything, but we'll see what happens. I do think the statue looks really cool. I'm just spoiled. Let's be honest. I'm just spoiled. Let's see. I've been looking at anything. Oh, I read that one. Okay. I think I'm all caught up. Thank you guys for all the support and engagement. Thank you. SMTG 0007. Thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you. Yeah, gotta watch your Hexe video after the stream. You should. We go through everything we know about it, and then I rant and ramble about how frustrated I am. So yeah. Why am I so negative about Elder Scrolls 6? Because I don't think there's much reason to be positive about it. I hope it's great, but you are kind of a scummy and like mediocre company for a decade. There's not a lot of reason to be hyped. Okay, much love, everybody. I've got to go to an interview. Thank you so much for chilling with me. I'll be back on either tomorrow or Wednesday, rocking and rolling. Nate, you said you had a 10. Did I miss it? Oh yeah, hey Luke, by chance, how did I not read this one? Did you see the video from CES uploaded on YouTube where about Saks toys you can use with gaming? Remember when AI was good? Rufus, Clippy the Wizard, praise be to Todd. I've not seen that. I will open that in another tab and maybe we look at it on Wednesday. That could be funny. That could be funny. I'm surprised they let them in to CES, but learn something new every day. Okay, much love everybody. Thanks for chilling. Sorry for the quick rushed shout or departure, but thank you for being here. Much love.